Okay, this morning's subject, I was striving to look at all the different requests and nothing just really came out to me, stood out. But here's a subject that I would like to touch on is being mentally strong versus weak. A mentally strong person views discomfort as a very normal part of the process of getting what it is that they're seeking in life and in their business and their families. In every area of life, they realize that a long-term vision makes them make short-term decisions that are oftentimes far more uncomfortable. Doesn't mean that they don't have times of that they take time to enjoy what's going on around them. They're not constantly in discomfort, but when making choices and when in their business, in their job, when they're committed to that, to give 100% to it. And many times they have to make uncomfortable choices. A mentally strong person doesn't make excuses. They find a way. A lesser strong person will find the first thing that causes them to not be able to do what they committed to doing and use that as an excuse and legitimately feel like they couldn't do that because of that. But the mentally strong person simply says, how can I do it? And makes the right choices. They start doing what needs to be done, even when it feels very uncomfortable, even when it might feel like everything is going against them. They find a way to face it anyway and continue moving forward. They realize short-term discomfort creates a long-term resilience and desirable outcome. Short-term pleasure creates long-term undesirable outcomes, and they're well aware of that. So it helps them make better choices. Being mentally strong is not a gift. It's something you work for. It's something you develop. It's something you create. It's something that's been developed over many years of things not always going the way we would like for it to, and facing your fears and moving on in spite of it. You see, that's what creates that mental resilience, mental strength. The person that wants to build their physical body knows he has to do it while going through some discomfort. The mentally strong person knows that he must develop the mental strength by going through discomfort. Everybody wants to be mentally strong, but very few are willing to do what it takes to become mentally strong. They don't want the discomfort. It doesn't feel good. I didn't feel like going out. I didn't feel like doing anything today. I understand you didn't feel like it. I'm not worried about your feelings because your feelings won't pay off debts. Your feelings won't make you a lender and not a borrower. Your feelings won't put food on the table. Your feelings will keep you in a state of despair. But the mentally strong person doesn't pay attention to their feelings. They notice they're there and they notice the discomfort. They feel it just as keenly as the other person, but they push it off to the side and do what needs to be done anyway. They develop that strength in doing that. They develop that resilience. They become that person that becomes captivating, and it happens because they pushed through many times. When discomfort was their best friend, they reached over and chose a friend that seemed much less as their best friend and picked up and moved through the discomfort. See, it's easy to shift gears when things get tough and go a different direction, but it's hard to stay the course. It doesn't take any strength to shift gears and do something easier. That's not a mentally strong person. It's not a mentally strong person to say, I didn't feel well today. Let me not finish what I committed to starting. It doesn't take mental strength to say, this isn't working. I must do something else that feels better. It doesn't take mental strength to say you're right when you really want to argue. Well, it does take mental strength for that. It doesn't take mental strength to argue. Any person can argue, but very few can step down and say you're right and continue moving forward. You see, mental strength is beautiful. It is priceless. I watched a gentleman last night for just a second that was physically very, very, very good shape. And as I admired the effort that he must have put into doing that, the days that he must have been soaked in perspiration and sweat, the days that the pain must have been excruciating to become as physically fit as this guy was. Couldn't help but admire not his strength, but what he took to get there. When I see a person mentally strong, I'm grateful that they have mental strength, but I admire the journey because I realize how many times that person must have pushed through tears, blood, sweat, and tears to get to where they're going. I realized how many times they must have taken rejection and chose not to take it personally and moves on. I admire the fact that they had the resilience to stay the course just long enough to break through. I've had this gentleman that I worked with years ago, very well spoken, just gifted as a speaker in front of the room, but he didn't have resilience. He hated the pain of rejection, and he never had an audience. But he was gifted. He had an audience for just a little bit, but not a lot. And that little bit that he had it, I realized his gift, but I understood that he surrendered to the discomfort and therefore lived way below his God-given means, which hurts to hear that and to see that unfold. But just because one person chose that doesn't mean that I need to slow down now. We need to move on and find somebody else that is willing to face their fears. I need to find someone that is willing to step up and help them become all that they can be. As the school teacher that I was talking about, you're helping those children see that if they study hard and work hard, they can eventually have what they desire to have in life, but they must study hard now. I admire you for doing that, and thank you for serving those children. All the pastors, all the team leaders, the people that lead congregations and lead different organizations that are listening in this morning or listening to the recording, and for some of you it's in the evening. I admire you for it. I know that many days that you would like to give up and you even wonder why you even started. That is something that every leader, every pastor, every king, every president, every person that has influenced people over a long period of time is faced with, and that's the desire to quit, the desire to stop, the desire to give in, give up, or give out. That desire is so strong that many surrender to it, but then there's an elite group of leaders that don't surrender to that desire. They realize that mental strength is built in their lowest times, in their toughest times. They understand that not everybody is going to follow that leadership, but they realize there's some people out there that all they need is one person to follow that has mental strength, and they will develop it too because they see it's possible. You see, you and I, if we do that, if we stay the course through the tough times, through the challenging times, through the times that we want to give up, and that happens a lot to every leader. Somebody else's life will be better because of it, and we may never know it, but they watch. They see the pain, and they see you pushing through it. They see you pushing through discomfort. They see you doing things that you wouldn't have to do, but you do it because you know it's going to serve others. They will be doing that too. You see, we need more leaders in the world, leaders that will stand up and say oppression, depression, scarcity, living below your God-given means should not be a way of life. It should be something that we use to help strengthen us, to create a way of life. And so they rise up and they move on. They rise up and they continue moving forward. It's that person that holds the stage then for quite a spell. And you wonder, how did that person, he is not as well spoken as the next person, I understand. But you see, he pushed through where the other one kind of eased off to the side and made excuses. And he probably had a spouse or a team member that supported him with making excuses. Excuses have never paid well. Nobody's ever sold one and got significant money from it. Nobody's ever put food on the table with excuses. I'm telling you, for those that are willing to rise above that, the world is theirs. They get to name the price. They get to decide. Guys, with that being said, I encourage you to have an amazing day and just challenge you to rise above circumstances that want to hold you down, hold you back. Face those fears, face the discomfort. Make some of the uncomfortable choices today that you must make to be successful. Go ahead and face those fears when you least want to do it. When it's easy to do and you want to do it, then of course it takes no resilience. It's when you absolutely do not want to do it, when you absolutely have every excuse in the book not to. It's those moments that you step up and you go ahead and do what needs to be done. That's when resilience is built. That's when mental strength is built. That's when the strength that you really need to take you where you know you should go and receive what you know you should receive, when you know you should be a lender, not a borrower. I'm going to tell you, it will not come easy. You're going to pay a price for it, but the price is worth it when you get it. With that, guys, make it a great day, and do me a favor, as always, remember, don't settle for less than who you are. May God bless you.